Yo, what's going on, Nomads and Drifting Podcast listeners? Welcome to Backspace Nomads, where every week we discuss gaming topics, review the latest releases in indie gaming, and bring gamers on to share the personal gaming stories. You can find us on Twitter at Backspace Nomads and on our Patreon, patreon.com/Backspace Nomads. This is episode 28 of the podcast, and I'm your host, Brian, and of course, my co-host, Monica. Monica, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm just downright depressed, Brian. Let me tell you.
Why every week we do this? It has to be these.
I have been. We've already covered that's my favorite, but I've really just been working a hell of a lot lately, and it's taken its toll a little bit. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to review our game tonight, Tacoma, and I'm also excited to maybe take a little breather this weekend to play more video games to rest a little after this intense week. And I know you've been having an intense week too. So
every week is just bombarded. I don't think I can bring up on the podcast why I've been working so much. It's
no, you may not be able to, but I can. No, I'm just kidding.
But it is. I think I could be held liable because I don't.
Brian works at a place where people are constantly dying.
Yep.
Having all types of scandals.
Yep.
And just in general, some of the craziest shit goes down, and it's just a restaurant.
It is just a restaurant, and you would think it's just kind of a menial job that you can just show up, everyone just kind of does their thing, and you all go home. Not at this place. It is soul-sucking, sucking in other ways, and it is just a treat to be privy to the amount of ridiculousness
that's happening.
Yes.
There's so much suckage there that it sometimes results in a firing.
No, just firing after firing. It's almost a train of firing, really.
Yeah.
So I think that's as fucking close to the line as I can go.
On that note.
All right.
We've both had crazy weeks this week. And now, Brian, what's up for us on the podcast today?
Let me tell you, Monica. On the podcast today, we're going to be taking a look and reviewing Tacoma from the developer Fullbright. After that, Danny Garfield from Puuba is going to be coming on to share his time of games and take place in a little segment we're calling the Human Insertion Project. I don't know who came up with that name.
Me.
All right, so let's jump right into our review of Tacoma.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. While aboard Tacoma Station, please remember that all activity on this facility is monitored by AR recording. All activity records become sole property of the Venturas Corporation. Any questions about piracy and personal privacy should be scoured on certain downloads and
Tacoma was released August 1st, 2017 for $19.99 on Steam, developed and published from Fullbright. Tacoma is a narrative adventure set aboard a high-tech space station in the year 2088. As you go about your mission, you'll explore every detail of how the station's crew lived, worked, and you will find clues that add up to a gripping story of trust, fear, and resolve in the face of disaster. Monica, what are your expectations heading into Tacoma?
We actually talked about this one on our summer reviews, and it was one of the games that I was just I don't know how I feel about it. I didn't know when we just briefly talked about the trailer and everything if I was going to be interested in it. I was excited at the fact that we are now actually giving it a review, but my expectations for it weren't that high. Probably because of just visually it wasn't super appealing to me in the trailer.
Sure. I'm kind of, the same way. The visuals kind of look standard almost until you actually get into the game, definitely. But my expectations, like you said, we looked at it during the summer. This game got pushed back, and that kind of tampered my excitement for it. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the walking simulator genre. I didn't even know it was named that until a couple of weeks ago. But we did play Narcosis, which I loved. And this kind of had that feel, first person walking simulator. So I was excited because of Narcosis was so good to jump into Tacoma. Let's start with things that you liked about this game.
So I really liked the atmosphere. I think I'm just in general a fan of space. I also think that it lends itself well to like the exploratory, like walking sim story. There's just so much like unknown, just space
Yeah.
films and space films. I love science fiction novels. I mean, there's just like, not that every science fiction novel involves space, but like I just really in general love that genre. And atmosphere wise, I thought that this was interesting. So you're playing this character, you're this main character that's exploring this station,
Hmm.
and in that you are reliving records of this station that has seemingly been abandoned.
Hmm.
And I guess what was like really cool about it too is just they did a really good job right off the bat of with the signage and everything, letting you know that this is very much an invasion of your personal privacy in the sense
Yeah.
that everything at the station was recorded. So we talk about like, we talk about, our personal privacy, our privacy with the internet, like, and as well as just like AI, those
Hmm.
are topics of conversation within, our culture right now. And this game is taking that and doing a lot with it. But you immediately know that you're going into an environment where everything you do is going to be recorded, and they can use it. The company that's recording you can use it for any reason that they want, and I think that really set the scene.
Yes.
Atmosphere wise, it set the scene because you're starting to like get these recordings of the people that were on the station, and the story begins to unravel, and you find out more, and you realize that all of this you're even finding this out because of these recordings, and it's just a interesting dynamic happening.
It is. Like, this game is set in 2088. It's in, like, pretty near future here. And it is talking about the forefront of, like, how is our world going to be? How is our privacy going to be? The way they tell the story is that your character puts on these modules on her head, and you are able to see the lived world through augmented reality. You can fast forward and rewind every scene that you go into. So you walk into a room, you load the kind of the module for that scene, and then the scene takes place, and it just plays out naturally. And then you can walk around it, fast forward and rewind. It's kind of like if you've ever played the Batman Arkham Knight series, how you explore a crime scene. It's close to that, but this one feels a little bit more personal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is definitely one of the big highlights of this game. Is definitely the big selling point is the fast forward rewind. They're able to also tell this story in a non-linear fashion. It's almost like a Tarantino movie where, sometimes you're jumping to things that happened 6 months ago, and then sometimes you're jumping into scenes that happened 2 days before that.
Right.
So it's a non-linear storyline, and the use of the augmented reality gimmick was done exceptionally well. Definitely a great part of this game.
Yeah, that's actually on my list. Is I just thought it was a super creative way to tell an interesting story.
Yeah.
The story is intriguing. I have never played a game.
Mhm.
I've never played a game that told the story in this way. So I thought it was
Yeah.
really interesting.
This one definitely did it way more in depth and better than anything I've seen so far. This is like the highlight of how that, I guess, that's gaming aspect is going.
Mm-hmm.
What's something else you liked about this game?
The last thing I actually have written down for this one, we always cover like the top threes. I'm sure I could have come up with more, but
Yeah.
I actually felt like the amount of time that it takes to finish this game is correct, in the sense that if it went on for too much longer, I don't know how much more you could have gotten out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. I'm not saying at all that it was dragging.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't imagine this story being an 8 to 10 hour story.
Sure.
So that being said, though, it was like, I guess probably between 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on like how quick you go through things.
Yeah.
I guess like that with a $20 price point might be a pain point to some people. But I thought it was actually the right amount of time. Like I think that the timing was good.
I got two more things here for things I like, so buckle in here. We're going. The next big thing I liked is the world building. This takes place in 2088, and you kind of start to put the pieces together of the world that they're living in, where there was a currency collapse around the world. The United States is no longer a thing. There are different countries. There's like the California Republic. There's a Texas Republic type of thing. There's the agriculture country. There are AI liberation movements. There is so much like just atmospheric world in this game that is not thrown in your face. You kind of explore like the bunks, and like we're going into the whole privacy thing. Part of this game is going into people's rooms and digging through their letters and things they've written to people, letters they've gotten from their families and their history, and that's how you start to pull the story together. And so they just build this world that is there for you to live in, but none of it is thrown at you, and that is such good storytelling. Like just these little nuggets that you find really add to this entire experience. The last thing that I absolutely adored about this game would be the voice acting. Some of the best.
That they did have some good voice acting. I agree with that.
Absolutely loved it. It's some of the best I've ever seen in gaming, and it had to be good. They had to sell you on the voice acting because with the AR,
you're just seeing like hologram.
Yeah, you're seeing like a hologram. Like you're seeing the outline of
right.
The form of a person colored. Like there's about 8 characters in the game. Each of them have their own distinct color, but it's basically just their body shape. You don't see any facial. None of that. So they have to sell you with the voice acting, and they absolutely do.
Yeah.
Every character had a full-on personality for itself. You could really feel their emotions and their evolution of their character throughout this disaster that's taking place on the station. The voice acting was like top-notch, and I don't think they could have made this game successful the way it is without that.
So I want to jump into something I actually didn't like based off of what you just said, though. So let's jump right into the bad
that we disliked.
Well, what you're talking about, like the voice acting, I totally agree with you. Voice actors were on point. They expressed their emotions well through voice. But what was weird is I found that like for a very long period of time, I was not connected to any of the characters. And I also felt that there's a lot of accents in this game. Yes. I felt as though they used accents in order to help you differentiate because the characters within and of themselves were not different enough.
Okay.
So their personal storylines outside of their roles on the ship, their personal storylines felt a little bit to me like similar, just kind of standard.
I can see standard. I don't think they're like similar to each other though. You think?
No. Okay. Standard. There was nothing like I wasn't getting a lot from any one of them that was like super stand out. It felt like they were kind of taking on roles that you see in a lot of film. In a lot of storylines like this.
That's a great point.
And so I wasn't connected to them for a while. I eventually started, picking like the characters that I enjoyed more, their storylines that I enjoyed a little bit more. But in general, I was having a hard time connecting. So that was a con for me.
I could definitely see that because I didn't connect to the story for a while until I started like exploring people's personal bunks.
Right.
I just didn't care that these people were about to like have impending doom upon them until I read that, this guy got denied the job that he wanted. I was like, oh, this poor dude. He just wanted a nice job and he didn't get it. So now he's here.
Yeah, I didn't feel like the story was really the people. I felt the story was like the theme.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also was like, why are there so many people I have to keep up with?
Sure.
If the story is truly the theme,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just some thoughts there.
Sure, I think you're right on with that. You're walking the good walk there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think my next big thing that I didn't like about this game was that I felt too guided. I know it's kind of like a walking simulator, but I definitely felt like my hand was being held a little bit too much. They built this beautiful space station. This thing is like almost a fully functioning, fully realized space station that you're getting on board. Mm-hmm. And it is telling you right from the get-go, all right, you're going to go to engineering now. All right, now you're going to go to the biomedical. All right, now you're going to go to comms. Like it tells you right where to go, and I didn't want to do that. I kind of wanted to like explore the story on my own terms almost. I don't know if that would have made a better game or if it would have sucked. I'm not a game developer, so maybe they had to do that. But this is such a cool scene that I wanted a little bit more freedom of exploration in it.
The one thing that I had and it actually made me kind of laugh internally when you were describing the game at the very beginning of this and talking about, you mentioned high-tech space station.
Yeah.
And granted, they do allude to the fact that it's high-tech. There's AI, there's all these recording devices, whatever. You can, it is. It is high-tech. But this game is not high-tech looking at all. Like, visually, it is unstimulating completely for me. I felt like the rooms just they were not providing this, like, it felt rudimentary almost in a lot of ways. And so I get that I could move past it for the story's sake, but I was just like, can't you just get some better textures in here? Like, what is going on? So that was something that I wasn't really in love with.
The last thing for me that I really disliked about this game would probably be the story and like kind of the resolution of the story. Definitely not going to spoil anything, but the story I thought started out pretty great. There was a lot of mystery involved in it, a lot of discovery in it. You're finding new people, you find out what's going on in the station. Everything starts to gear up and it feels good, and it feels like, this is going to be some big reveal, and then like the reveal happens, and it was kind of predictable in a sense. It
felt flat for you?
Definitely felt flat. And
the climax felt like it felt flat, or just like the tail end?
Both.
Okay.
That's why I'm so let down by it, because the climax, I don't know if I just kind of guessed the plot beforehand unintentionally, but it was revealed to me. I was like, I kind of saw that coming.
They start giving you clues, I feel
like. Yeah, and they really don't sell how shattering it is as a revelation. It's not sold to you well. And then shortly after that, the resolution happens, and there's a 20-second countdown timer, and then the timer stops, and it's that's the end of the story, and then you just kind of wrap up the story on your own after that. And it just, I was left wanting. I didn't connect with it at all. At that point, I just, where was it? Tacoma. Where were you at the end of there? Because they had done such a really good job, I thought, up until probably the last 30, 40 minutes of this game.
Yeah, I don't know what I like better, a game that falls flat at the end or a game that's flat up until the end, which is I feel like we played both on this, which is a bigger letdown. I mean, the thing is, I enjoyed the story as a whole. I thought it was pretty well done. I felt like sometimes they added too much in that didn't need to be there, but that actually brings me to my very last issue with this game, and just a lot of games like this, and it's the addition of being able to touch and do things that don't fucking matter. In walking simulators or in just exploratory type games like this, I absolutely hate it when you can go around and you can grab everything and you can flip it around. It's there's literally probably 200 cups in this game that you can grab, and you can look at them, you can flip them around, and they're just cups. They don't do anything, and the only thing you can do is drop them on the floor. Why is this a dynamic? It doesn't make me feel like I'm anywhere near, I don't feel like I'm closer to the game. I don't feel like I'm interacting with the environment. I just feel like there's 200 cups that I can pick up and throw on the ground. Why?
You didn't want to pick up the personal lip balm that somebody was using?
No, this game is full of objects. And the thing is, sometimes there's keys, sometimes there's things, and you think, oh, am I supposed to do something with this? No, you can inspect it and you can throw it on the ground. You can go into the freezer and grab a bowl full of fruit and you can throw it on the ground. There is nothing to do. Why am I able to touch all of these things when it's a story-based game?
Yeah.
I really think that part of if you wanted to touch everything in this game, you could turn it into an 8 to 10 hour game, let me tell you. So that would be my suggestion if you want to play it, which I do recommend it. But if you want to play it and you want to play it for a really long time, touch everything you can touch. Put everything on the ground. Put everything into a giant pile and take a photo of it and send it to me, and I will be so proud of you.
Did you find the lady toy in it?
No.
Oh, you can't pick that up.
You can't pick that up?
No, they're like, no, I don't want to touch that. That's gross. They literally said that on the screen.
After the boring inspection of 200 mugs, I would have loved to have played with a lady toy. That would have just been delightful.
Well, someone already played with it, so the person didn't want to pick it up. All right, final thoughts, Tacoma.
I liked it in general. I felt like the price point was a little hefty for what it was. But if you story-wise, they did a good job. It's got pros and cons. I'm not like a huge thumbs up. Sometimes I'm just like, I fucking love this game. Yeah. Even if it was less expensive, I felt that there was some things missing in it, or some things that there were too much of, like mugs. It just didn't hit home for me, but I also didn't dislike it. So I am a thumbs up. I'm a hesitant thumbs up. And what's interesting too is just like I was having like weird vibes with it. Like I'm like, do I like this? And then I decided, I'm like, okay, what do other people think? Because I purchased this game without really paying much attention to reviews. Sure. And it's like, I'm pretty sure it's like overwhelmingly positive or very positive on Steam. A lot of people really like it. And I can see why it wasn't the home run that I was hoping for it to be.
Sure. So is that thumbs up, thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up for you. I am a thumbs down on this one. I can see where all the like positive reviews come from, because I was enjoying the gimmicks in this game, the world they were building. But this is a 3-hour game for $19.99. That's really, really short. And on top of that, the story that they told, it did not have a payoff. It was not a strong ending. They didn't stick the landing. There was a lack of heart in this game in storytelling, and I can't give that suggestion to people. This is a walking simulator. If you don't have a great story and a great ending to your story, you don't have anything. So if
you can't play with the dildo available to you,
you
don't have anything.
I'm left empty with my lack of dildo handling in this game.
Yep.
All right, thumbs up, thumbs down for Tacoma. You can find it on Steam for $19.99 from the developer and publisher Fullbright. We're going to go to intermission, and when we come back, Danny Garfield from Puuba, one of the creators of Metronomicon, is going to come join the podcast. We'll be right back, everybody. Woo. Thank you for sitting through that intermission, Nomads. Coming up on the podcast, we have Danny Garfield from Puuba, the creators of Metronomicon. You can find him on Twitter at PuubaDanny or Puuba.com. That's Puuba with 2 U's. Danny, welcome to the show, man.
What up?
Welcome.
What's going on, bro? Hello, Ski. What up?
How you been?
Hey, good. It's been a really busy, weird couple of weeks. Whole mess of stuff going on, but it's been fun. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Just, feeling the good veins in my life, So
we are making fun of my drinking vein. I have a vein that when I'm happy and when I'm drinking, it comes out of my forehead. It's my Julia Roberts vein. That's what I call it. It's called Julia.
Is it Julia or is it why you look like Julia?
No, I don't look like Julia. It's just it's something
she and I have.
Something she and I have in common. Like a lot of other things too, that I assume,
Wieners.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wieners. All right. So why have you been so busy? What's going on over at Puuba?
Oh man, been wrapping up the Metronomicon. It's our latest game release, comes out this month. Our big old rhythm RPG coming to PlayStation and Xbox. But I also just got back for the Metronomicon on Monday from Washington, D.C. The Smithsonian American Art Museum was doing video game exhibit, and
That's sweet.
through weird old channels, we got in and we were showing our game off in the atrium of the American Art Museum. So that was pretty cool.
That's really awesome.
Yeah,
You're like you're a museum piece.
I am. I'm officially an artist. I don't make art, but I'm an artist now. That's all you need. I've checked the box.
No, that's awesome. And what day is the game coming out? I know that it's been on PC for a while, but you have the expansion coming out. And what days can we expect that on PS4 and Xbox?
It's coming to PlayStation on the 29th of August and Xbone and PC on the 30th. So, yay! Yeah, a whole big old expansion, adds multiplayer and a new gameplay mode, new heroes and gear and side quests and things and stuff and junk.
Cool.
Can I ask you one question? Because I first saw your game by a bunch of people playing it on Twitch, and like it's so like out there as a concept. How did you even like come up with that? Like, how does that process go? We're like,
we were aiming to confuse.
I feel like how Danny would come up with an idea like this is going to be self-explanatory by the end of
yeah, probably
by the end of these segments. But yeah, how did you?
How did I?
Did you go walk in the woods for 6
I had a dream, and Alice Cooper was there, and he taught me about the Indians. No, so I was actually working on 2 different gameplay ideas at the same time. On one hand, I was looking at kind of the same inspiration from the last game I worked on, The Weaponographist. I was looking for a way to make like a really high-speed, non-stop role-playing game, like keeping all the strategy and party building and weaknesses and buffs, but stripping out like menus and turns and UIs and having it much more like, in my notes I was calling it Infinite Runner RPG.
Okay.
And then separately, I was toying with an idea for a music game where I wanted to bring in more strategy, like more players' activity, subjectivity, and choice. Because I feel like most music games are kind of like, here's the notes, hit them, you're judged. And it's not a lot of room for creativity.
Sure.
And it kind of occurred to me, like music drives action. Music is itself a clock. It has a pulse. It's nonstop. And so that can replace all of the kind of turn mechanics of an RPG. These are all one idea.
Right.
Cool. It's definitely.
What would you tell okay, set the scene here.
Here we go.
Right.
Buckle up.
All right, I'm closing my eyes.
You are at the Smithsonian and you're going to the bathroom.
Oh, right there, right in the atrium.
Yep, and you're at the urinal and a man
Oh.
comes in to the bathroom with a little boy.
Oh God!
I don't like where this is going.
Stop! I'm bored.
Where is this going?
And they go to and the little boy comes up to the urinal next to you, and the man and the little boy start going to the bathroom too. And the little boy looks up to you and says, "Sir, someday I want to make a video game."
I'm going to tell him the truth. My boy, that's what I'm going to address him as. My boy, you keep peeing like that, and someday you will. I believe in you.
Oh no!
All right, so that's all it takes is just a good steady stream.
Just a steady, solid stream.
Nice.
If you can't back up across the room and keep it going, you can't make a video game.
Right. I mean, that's kind
dreams
of
are
a
crushed.
shade. Yeah.
Persistence. That's
I
when
kinda-
game's finished.
I was at a convention in Atlanta like 2 months ago in Momocon, and I kind of did that to a guy. There was a dude who I was positive I knew, like one of those people like you
Peed
see
on him from
online.
across the room.
Yeah, just like that perfect golden arc through the air.
Nice.
And he was not a pot of gold. He was a dude. He didn't like it. No, I just ambushed a dude. I swore he was this guy named Dan I knew, and I just literally like jumped out. I was like, Dan, in the bathroom, and he just gave me this, what's happening? My name is Sven, in like an accent, like European accent, like he was here for the show. I'm like, you are not Dan. I'm really sorry I jumped out at you in a bathroom. Not all Americans do this.
Did you tell him how to make a video
I did.
game?
I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, you keep that stream up. You got a future ahead of you.
Nice reassuring rub.
Good.
Yeah.
There you go, bud. So the first thing we're going to be doing with Danny here is something that we're calling the Human Insertion Project, which is nice after all this bathroom talk. What we're going to be doing in this segment is we're each going to be throwing out a historical or pop culture figure, and then as a group we're going to talk about and decide what kind of gaming genre or specific game this person would do best in, or worst, depending on who it is, I guess. So, Monica, you want to kick this one off with one of yours?
No, you kick it off.
All right, I'll kick it off. My first one that I'm bringing to the table is the heartthrob, the versatile actor, triple threat, really, Ryan Gosling.
What video game he'd be good in?
Yeah.
I feel like
It's a tough one.
he's already in films that are like video games. With all of his driving film.
I
Like
want him to be in
driving.
Hatoful Boyfriend. I want to see a beautiful
See?
Ryan Gosling bird that I can seduce.
Okay.
I mean, you guys say that. You don't think Ryan Gosling would be perfect for like a walking simulator? Like he's just going along with some beautiful woman and you're just walking with them hand in hand, finding out his story.
I thought you were going in a different direction. I thought it was going to be like, because I could just stroll through those eyes for days.
I'm not as romantic as you, Danny.
Oh, man.
I thought you're going in a different direction where you're like walking through the woods and there's just like, instead of deer, there's just Ryan Gosling's like bounding
Flocks of
around. Like,
Gosling.
and you're like, it's just this beautiful like scene and then just Ryan Gosling like eating some grass. Like,
No, I want to take it a step. It's a duck pond, and there's all these baby geese. Those are goslings, right? And then among them, he's just like crouched down with his arms in the wing post, just like quacking it up. And that's the game. You have to solve. Why is Ryan Gosling living among the ducks?
Could it be like Duck Hunt instead of just Gosling Hunt and he's just like jumping up out of the bushes at you?
Yes,
I
but
don't know.
he's also the dog.
Yeah,
He
I
is
feel
a
like
hound.
he's
the ducks
taking
and the
over.
dog.
He's taking over everything.
He's also the gun.
He's so good at everything he does. You just transplant him.
That guy can do anything.
All right, so yeah, so I don't feel like we've really figured out the game that he belongs in, but I'm just gonna go that it's like there can't be a lot of talking. None of his roles have a lot of talking. I mean, I'm thinking about like his lineup, and I don't know. I think like even Hatoful Boyfriend, like there's just too much like talking in that. It's just, I think it would be a walking simulator because there's never any talking in it. You just walk around and explore shit.
What if we just do one of those like 9-piece puzzles where you like slide the tiles, like, you know, like 3-year-olds do. You slide the tiles in place, and at the end, you just get to gaze at Ryan Gosling.
Oh, what a reward.
That could be it.
He's the
That would-
puzzle.
What a reward, Ryan. You would.
Or if you want, you can slide him apart and move his mouth around.
Okay, so I'm going a different direction here, and this is kind of like I was talking about this the other day. How like rappers used to have like actual beef with one another to the point that like there was like disagreements, fights, like true. You know, they might have lived in mansions, but they still like they had beef. And I don't feel like that really exists. I feel like it's fabricated a lot more nowadays. But
Yeah.
Thinking about people that don't seem all that tough, but have a big fucking mouth. How about Kanye West?
Okay.
I want to put him in old school Doom, and I want him to be all the bad guys.
All of the bad guys.
All the bad guys.
So it's just
And-
like him in a different outfit.
I want it to be in him like in like children's felt made costumes of all the bad guys. It's like the Caca Demon is just him with like his head obviously popping out the top of the eyeball in like a big puffy suit.
Okay. All right.
I think we could put him in a kind of a homage to the old school Michael Jackson 2D platformer, whatever that was called. I think he'd be perfect. for that.
Moonwalker?
Moonwalker, there you go. Man, you historian. How'd you pull out Moonwalker? What the hell? I think he'd be perfect for that. Like the auto tunes would be like his weapons and stuff. Like every level he goes up.
Yeah.
Great.
I had a hard time, you know. I feel like there are like some standard ideas there, like around like GTA has had like rap in it and everything and like that kind of like culture or whatever, but
Sure.
I think that's too tough for him. Like I don't think he belongs in that game. Even though that's like kind of where, you know, my head went at first. I'm like, no, he doesn't belong in that game. He's not really tough. So I was thinking more like a hip hop like Mamma Mia.
Like Power Rappa the Rappa.
Yeah, like you're like Cooking Mama or whatever. Like you're like in the kitchen and he's like, yeah, like talking shit, but then in reality he's like making muffins, you know?
These are gonna be the best MF muffins you've ever had. I'm gonna stick
Yeah.
them down your throat. And you're like, Kanye, that's where they go. That's where I put muffins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Kanye's so brilliant, man. Another level. Muffins.
All right. Danny, do you have any suggestions or who you want us to share?
Oh man. All right. So it can't be a fighting game, but I'm gonna go to my personal hero, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh,
He's my dude.
shit.
I love that guy.
Oh, wasn't he in a video game? Am I wrong?
He was in the Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
I swear I remember there's like an old Sega CD game. So this would have to be like that genre, like era. He would be in the Sega CD era.
I'm gonna go. So I'm going like a like American Truck Simulator.
What?
Okay.
Like,
Walk me through this one.
well, wasn't he in? Wait, am I wrong here?
The dude with the
Wasn't he in the
splits?
commercial? Didn't he do
Yeah,
splits on the
totally.
two semi trucks? So he's
So you just
obviously
reinvented the game.
So he's obviously a really excellent
Driver.
with truck driver. He can do splits in between two of them. I mean, I just think that he belongs. Like that seems like his real calling.
I want him to be my Wii Fit trainer.
Oh, wow.
Man.
I mean, that would be a good one too.
Do you think that you could get as low as he could doing the splits on the Wii Fit?
I couldn't, but I'd enjoy watching him try.
Dude, I want to put like Van Damme. I know it's a little basic, but like in like an Uncharted series, like I want to be Van Damme for once in my life. You know, like I grew up watching that dude get like taunted by Chun-Li, and I would love to just like go over there and throw some like roundhouse kicks at people as Van Damme.
All right, I have
I like
one
it.
more I want to do.
All right.
Sarah Palin. I know she's like not as big of a deal anymore, but I still feel like she could be she deserves to be in video games.
She's
I want to
definitely.
do.
Go for it.
Go for it. I was gonna say Sarah Palin's pro skater.
Okay. Like grinding on like bears and stuff.
Yeah, just doing sweet tricks like spinning a polar bear up on your hand while you're like doing a sweet ollie flip off some kind of penguin beast. I don't know what lives in Alaska. I assume it's penguin beasts.
I'm kind of thinking personally, like I'm thinking almost like a Flash game, like some shitty.
I don't want to see her flash anyone.
Well, that's true, but not like her flashing people. More so like a game that's just like intended to be played, you know, for 15 minutes, and maybe it's like Sarah Palin clubs baby seals.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
it
game.
seems
Think about
appropriate.
that. Is it like whack-a-mole? Is it cartoonish or is it like really real?
I think it's like you're running through, and you have to get through almost like like a platformer,
Mhm.
but then you have to club baby seals along the way through your trek through like the Arctic.
Dude, I would love to see her in an actual arcade game though that has like little seals popping up for the whack-a-moles, and then every time you hit them, it's like, oh, gotcha. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
man.
And
So
then-
it's like seal, and then Sarah. She's like every sixth, she just jumps out of a hole.
yeah, or like John McCain's political career. That could be
Right.
the last one that you really have to hit. It'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And like you could be looking at Russia and like the back vista of the arcade machine. The only other one I could really think of for this topic would be, and I know we brought up Kanye, we got to bring up Mrs. Kanye West, Kim Kardashian. Where would you like to see this?
With the moon. Just the moon. Let's just send her to the moon. Problem
it?
solved. That's it. That's my pitch. We sent her to the moon.
So
I'd pay $20 for that game, 100%.
Yep.
So she just goes to the moon. So it's another walking simulator, but it's just her on the
Nope.
moon.
There's no game. This is part of the dev process. This is research for a game. We sent her to the moon.
Oh, it's research for the game. Okay, got it. I don't know. I can't think of like a good game for her. I'm trying to think like what.
It feels
What
like you
would
could
she-
do one of those like Barbie dress up games like used to be on Nintendo.
Yeah,
like there was a
but
few
that seems like-
platformers.
But that also just seems so.
It's
It
too
seems
easy.
too perfect. Yeah, it's too
Right.
easy. Like,
Yeah, she wants
could
that.
She really. Yeah. Where does she fit in? I don't know. Brian, you stumped me. You
See?
stumped me.
Kim Kardashian, she just
but
did perfect
before-
for us.
Before we go
Yes.
into Danny's time game, I do want to say that if anyone had said Trump, I was going to say passport, please.
You're fucking sitting on that one, dude.
I was excited.
Oh
No,
man.
passports, please. I would just create an expansion pack, and it would be Trump's passports, please. So
Would everyone be orange?
Yes.
Like everyone crossing the border? Is he crossing the border or is he keeping the people out?
no, have you ever played that game?
Yeah.
You're just checking people's passports.
So I'm saying, are you checking his or is he the checker?
He should
He's
be the checker.
Okay.
He's the checker for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy. You just have one big no button and there's no research done.
True.
You know, game developers' money, the simpler this is, the more
Right.
we're going to cash in, right?
Getting this out on the
Right.
weekend.
Yeah.
Right. All right. That being said, Danny, tell us about your life. No. Just
Well, I was born in the fields of Colombia.
Ooh, wow.
Now we're gonna jump into the time of game.
You asked me to think of a story where real life intersected with my gameplay. And I thought of a handful, and this is kind of a small story, but it was one that I hadn't thought of in a while. And now thinking back to, I think I'm like a super big jerky jerk. So I want to set the stage for you. I'm going to set the stage.
Okay.
So I think I was 13 years old, and you have to understand, like, I loved RPG. I still do love RPGs to the point where, like, I had my Super Nintendo before the N64, right? And I literally wrote Square Enix a paper letter that asked, like, hey guys, where's the next Final Fantasy coming out? There's PlayStation, there's Nintendo. You got to tell me, otherwise, because I can only buy one. I'm a kid. And they sent me an answer like, no, we're not giving a scoop to a kid. It's super reasonable. And so I bought my N64, and there was no Final Fantasies, and there was this game, Quest 64. And so that was like the only RPG the system ever had, and it came out, and I was super stoked. And usually I play like every RPG with my buddy Matt, and like I've never played one without him, except for this one, which I played alone, and that's going to be important.
Okay.
So I was 13. I live in, a very Jewish city growing up, and was going like, the bar mitzvah scene. Like every weekend you're going to like a kid party, like being cool.
Sounds hot.
So I met this girl. I'm going to skip some names, but met a girl, like slow dancing, kind of hit it off. I'd never had a girlfriend before.
So you're at a bar mitzvah.
At a bar mitzvah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And like we hit it off and like slow dance, and I think we like kissed once, and it was like one of my first kisses.
Whoa.
And yeah.
All right.
And then she got my number. Oh, I probably gave it to her. And like that's all, we go home. Like we're 13, right? So like, oh, whoa, and we go home, and like I talked to all my friends about it. Like, oh, we all giggle and shake our hands. And so I got home, and I sit down and I start playing Quest 64 right after this bar mitzvah, after this party. And I'm just hanging out in my bedroom alone, door closed, phone rings. My mom calls up, hey, it's for you. And it's the girl that I saw that night. And cool. All right, I take the phone and I plug it in under my shoulder and press it against my head, and controller's still in hand, and I'm playing through a dungeon.
Are you excited that she's calling?
I am in retrospect, but in real time, I'm just like, these bad guys needs dodged. This is a real time game.
Okay, right.
And she's kind of like telling me like, oh, I had a really good time tonight. It was really fun. Like right retrospect, like this is a 13-year-old girl. Like, wow, that takes courage. That's cool. And like, I'm totally, yeah, yep, yeah, And so she's telling me like, oh, we should go out sometime. Like, yeah, right, totally that. The thing you said, yeah. And then we must have been on the phone for, I swear, like an hour total. And about halfway through it, I noticed that she's trying to be sexy with me, but I'm playing a video game. And so we have this one-sided conversation where she's just like, I want to kiss you. And I'm like, I'm playing a video game. Yes, that's good. Let's do that. Yeah. And so what I specifically remember is that she, like, we were young, and so it wasn't super explicit, but like you could tell, like definitely there was an attempt to be.
She was trying to let you know truly trying to let you know that she had a crush on you.
Right. Well, I feel like,
and you're like, yeah.
I feel like she was even trying to be explicit, and I was like, not checked in. Mm-hmm. And what I remember was that the main character of that game's name is Brian, and I remember that because at one point she made like an oblique. I'm not sure what language I can use when I'm on with you. Oh, she made a penis reference, and I basically, she's like, "What's it named?" And I was like, "Brian," because that's the name of the character I'm playing right now. And then I told all my friends about the story the next day, and that stuck for like 6 months. And whenever somebody would come over and watch me playing Quest 64, they'd be like, "Dude, don't play that game with us. That's gross. You got to play that game alone. I don't want to be in the room with you."
So wait, this girl is like, what is your dick what's your
Yeah,
nickname?
and we're
you
like-
said Brian.
Because that was literally the name
And
of the
you were
hero I
still
was playing as. In
You
Quest
are,
16,
like-
yes.
You're 13 years old,
Yeah.
and you aren't
Yes.
like, holy shit. You're just like,
I'm just like, God, this game needs
Brian.
a lot of grinding.
All right.
oh my God,
that's
that's
too funny.
ridiculous. Okay, so the next day, you tell your friends.
Right, exactly. And so I have to, I don't know why I shared that story with them. Because it's just like, I don't
Right.
look good in that story.
Yeah.
And so for the next 6 months, like everyone's giving me, shit for like, oh yeah, you're gonna go home and play with Brian? I'm just like, well, yeah, I am. I haven't beaten it yet. And I get the joke, but yes. And so we
Haven't
end up,
beaten it yet.
I'm beating it a lot back then. But
Yeah. That game had a lot
no,
of
and then so we ended
replayability.
up like going out. We ended up actually seeing each other, and it was me and this girl and two of my friends. And the whole time, every 5 minutes, they're butting in with, "Hey, how's that game you're playing going right now?" It's like, "Good." And she doesn't know that they're talking about like her and what a dick I was to her. But the whole night, they're just like, "Yeah, what? Not tonight. Tonight, you think tonight, if everything goes well, you're gonna go back and beat Quest 64?" Like, oh, guys, I know what you mean. That's not nice. And she's like, "Why? Are you gonna?" I'm just like, "Oh, nobody here is being nice." and so I ended up like first early girlfriend dating her for like a week, and the whole time she had to endure jokes about this like video game that nobody ever played, and
Yeah.
never understood that they were all sex jokes at her expense.
Did she ever find out
I don't think so. God,
that
I don't.
Brian was really your,
'Cause
was
that's not
really your main protagonist?
Well, that's not its real name even. It's Titanicus.
Oh, really? Oh, man. You just named him Brian? You're naming everything Brian.
Yeah,
It's not the worst name. I mean,
Brian's
What-
right here.
right?
God, it's
Yeah.
so weird. It's so weird. Brian must
Brian, do you have, is your penis named after a major video game character?
no, it's not.
Is it Sephiroth?
No, that's way too long of a sword. For me.
That's like, that was the trend of like all of my dating though, until I was married. Like I was telling you guys just a minute ago, like when I first moved in with my fiance, I was running like Japanese raids on Final Fantasy 11, and I would like get out of bed at 2 a.m. for a 64-man raid I would lead and get back in the morning.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, hey, baby, going to work. Gotta
I
get.
think I might be terrible. I might be a terrible person.
No, you're not a terrible person, but she might have been more hesitant to like ask people about things when
Right?
what though, when I think about it, like talking on the phone, even though now I bet you we were better at it at that age than like kids would be now because they don't even talk on the phone.
Right.
But
I didn't just send her like an eggplant emoji.
right. Exactly. But like it was always weird. I feel like
Yeah.
it was always weird anyway. So I don't blame you. Most of the time when I was talking to guys and I wouldn't even be playing a video game, I would just be like, oh God, I'm supposed to talk to you. This is uncomfortable. Let me just like do something else as well. Like
Yeah.
read.
Would you just read books while you're on the phone with them?
Yeah, I really did actually. I didn't have a lot of love interests at that age, but there was one guy that was like total weirdo. So
Yeah.
I would read when I talked to him. So I don't blame you. I feel like that's pretty normal. But you ended
I
up
feel like
dating a
dudes
week.
don't really know how to talk on the phone. Like, I don't know. Brian, do you ever talk to anyone on the phone with like
Oh.
longer than a hey, come over?
Barely, dude. Like, the phone is the worst invention we've ever done as human beings. And, like, I can't stand being on it. Like,
I just want texting. That works
yeah,
for me.
just text me, or I'll even take, like, a video call over talking on a phone. Like, if I can't see somebody, I hate talking to them.
Yeah.
It is a very weird thing for me.
I genuinely make people like, if they want to hang out, it's easier to Skype me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like somewhere between like super millennial and like the oldest person in the world. If you want to hang out with me, you have to like use business IMs.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing your time of being with us.
The story of Brian.
The story of Brian.
That's going to do it for episode 28 of Backspace Nomads. You can find Danny from Puuba Games over at Puuba.com. Metronomicon's coming out August 29th on the PS4 and on the Xbox and PC August 30th. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.